Hello and welcome to the Golden Girls podcast. Just kidding. This is Filmi Ladies, and today we just happen to be Golden Girls. We are Beth and Pitu, and today we are going to talk about all things golden. This is the last of our color series episodes. The last one that we did was on silver, and now we're at gold, which is just as well to go out on a high because gold has been trending at all-time highs. It's kind of crazy, y'all. Okay, what do we say about gold? First of all, I would be a traitor to my people if I did not say I love gold. I love gold in all its shiny, sparkly forms. Um, I think when I think of gold, I mostly like just think of royalty. That could just be cultural programming. But I think of like palaces and I think of crowns and tiaras and sparkle, sparkle and all the golden artifacts that you see in India. I also think of power. I think of limitless wealth and all of the bad things and connotations that has. I also think of smuggling for some reason because of all the 70s movies. And those of you who are watching us on YouTube rather than Spotify will see this amazing wallpaper that Beth has behind us, which is Kader Khan staring at what looks like red velvet
And
cases full of just
you
gold.
can't quite see it at cutoff, but the subtitle actually has him saying gold because he opens a door and he goes Sona.
I love that. It's like when I open my pantry and there's all these like biscuits, but they're like biscuits. And he opens his pantry, there's like gold biscuits. I love that for him.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that was me, but alas.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I also, for some reason, associate gold with like the Egyptians because I think of
Oh,
like the sun god
yeah.
Ra. And then that makes me think also of like Louis the 14th and the French and like the Palace of
Yeah.
Versailles. The first time I went to Versailles and I looked at all the gold leaf everywhere, I was like, okay, these people love gold as much as my people do. And I think also when I think of gold to a lesser extent, I do think of like the 70s and the 80s. For some reason, the 70s and 80s, the 80s especially are more silver to me with all of the disco balls and the sequins, but there's a fair bit of gold in there as well. So my movie that I brought for this episode is Eklavya from 2007, because this is a movie I remember watching in the theater when it came out, but I hadn't seen it since then. And I had remembered liking it a lot. I'm also always keen on watching with the Vinod Chopra production
Mm-hmm.
or movie. I love Sef, I love Vidya, I love Rama Sen, What's Not to Love. I had completely forgotten that Baman Irani is in this movie in a very small role, but like I enjoy him as well. And Amitabh Bachchan, whom I typically love to hate on, is magnificent in this movie. So I chose Eklavya because it is literally a story of a royal family and it's set in Rajasthan and it's picturized in that beautiful golden state and there's just gold, gold, gold in every frame. I know Beth went with a very different interpretation of Sona. So I will let Beth tell us now about the absolutely gazonga sounding movie that she has picked.
I'm so relieved that you did the classy aspects of gold because I have brought the masala and as you were saying, sort of 70s, 80s smuggler type movie. So when I think of gold in Hindi films, I think of Rekha and Bappi-da.
Yes.
And so I went to IMDb and I said, IMDb, tell me, what is a movie that has both Bappi and Rekha in it? And there were 10 or 12 options, I believe, other than like, yeah, that was right. That was
I
the
love this
combo.
very scientific approach to movie
Yeah.
picking.
And so I'm looking at that list, and some of them were later, like more towards the 90s. Some of them looked like they were going to be a very violent revenge movie or
Mm.
something. So I went for the one called Locket from 1986 because do you mean to tell me that there's a movie literally called Locket about siblings who are separated as children and they have lockets and that in their lockets are two halves of a map to a treasure? Come on. Of course that's what I'm going to watch. So it
That is
has
like catnip for Beth.
gold Reka, gold Bappi, gold Locket, gold treasure. So I covered that arm and I even dug out. So if you are watching on YouTube, you'll see I don't have a gold shirt on, but I do have yellow because it was the closest I had. But I do have a gold colored, it's actually a pocket watch, but it has a Locket side also that was my grandmother's. There's nothing in it right now because I took the map to the treasure out because I'm not going to show you all where the map to the treasure is. Pitu has the other half and we're going to be
Mm,
quiet about it.
yeah.
So, of course, this is what I watched. I will say that this did not have the golden disco fever dream that I was hoping it would have, but it did have many gold accoutrements here and there, but very much in the sort of this is from the mid 80s, but it does feel very 70s. It's got the
Yeah.
smuggler gold aspect rather than royal gold. Although one of the people in this movie is a royal, because of course, who got
Please tell me it's not Kadir Khan.
no, well, he's in the family, but he is the one who tries to kill off the royal baby so he can have the royal treasure.
Makes sense.
And actually, the person he wants to kill is the main royal, who's the grandpa of our person who grows up in modern day to be one of the leads of this movie. So this did tick a lot of boxes for me. Even though I think if you didn't know what my theme was, I'm not sure you would guess gold by watching this movie, but you might, because there is, a whole treasure room with lots of fights happening in front of big piles of pearls and silver and gold, and there's like gold turbans and gold stuff on the walls. Probably some of it's brass, but it looks gold. So
yeah,
this is definitely a good movie for me for this.
I feel like the 70s and the 80s, they had so many of these movies where like smuggling was like such a big theme. And also, did you ever read like the Hardy Boys or Secret Seven or anything when you were growing up?
A little bits, yeah.
Why was there so much smuggling in those books too?
Yeah.
Like whenever the Secret Seven were like on some adventure, they would be on some island, and then in the middle of the night there would be smugglers. And I, as a child growing up reading all of these books and watching these movies, very much believed that smuggling was like a very regular daily occurrence. And that as an adult, I would either be involved in smuggling as like a perpetrator or as a person who was going to investigate and catch. And so far, none of that has happened, and I'm very disappointed.
Well, however, I will remind you that this does not impact us immediately, but we have lived through a smuggling news story, which was the theft of the maple syrup reserve from Canada not too long ago. So it does happen.
I'm not saying you were involved, but I'm just going to drop a few hints that you like maple syrup and you lived in Canada. So
that's true.
You can be shady too. So
so right before we got on this recording, Pitu said, I feel like I hear a washing machine cycle happening, and I just heard it too. And I think it's actually a candle that's burning next to me, which I pulled out because the holder is gold. But I think something's in here that's making it whistle, which is very strange. Sorry if you hear anything, listeners.
That's okay. I just like when we got on Zoom, I was just like, what is that? Why does it sound like Beth is running some sort of spin cycle? But yeah. So have you seen Eklavya, Beth?
No, and I remember it coming out and thinking I should watch this at some point, and I just never have, despite liking a lot of the people in it, and obviously that arm of Chopra is usually a marker of quality, so I don't really know why I haven't seen it.
I think you should watch it.
Okay.
I think you would enjoy it. It really held up for me. As I said, the last time I'd seen it was in 2007 in the theater, so I wasn't sure how it was going to hold up. And it was so excellent. I was not let down at all. So Eklavya, the royal guard, is basically played by Amitabh Bachchan himself. And it's set in this little feudal town in Rajasthan, presumably right after independence. And it's like the cast is really amazing. Like there's Amitabh as the royal guard. The king is Baman Irani. His ailing wife is Sharmila Tagore.
Baman Irani as a king is not...
He's actually excellent.
I can believe it. I was just like, what?
And you think of him as like eccentric professor or something, right?
And if he's going to be in this setting, I would have had him be like the tutor of the royal children or the like slightly retired captain of the guards who hangs around giving advice and being jovial or something. But this is early in his career, I know, and he's at that point definitely way younger than I think of him as being.
Right.
So
although here he looks very old.
Okay, very interesting.
So he's very much cast against type, and he's excellent. He's so shady and crafty and petulant and such a nasty person, and he's awesome at it. Like I don't think I've ever seen Baman Irani play someone like nasty, and he's really nasty in this, and he's very much this elitist king who's just kind of like a jerk, but he's acted really well. So he's the king, Sharmila Tagore is the queen. Their son, the prince, is Saif Ali Khan, who looks like a dream in the entire film. I know Saif is like a very good-looking actor, and he's such a good clothes horse, but I have to say my favorite Saif is the Saif who wears... Sorry, 1 second.
Well, I wonder if we're going to get a visual aid if you're listening. She's stepped off camera for a moment.
I have an extremely creepy cat toy that my dog has discovered and is playing with, so I put it away. So Saif I just feel like looks so good in Indian clothes. Like when he wears those like kurta pajamas and bandgalas and jodhpurs, and he has that like slightly scruffy look, like he hasn't really shaved in like 2 days, but he's still like to the noble thing born, and like born with a
Yeah.
golden spoon in his mouth. Like he does that so well. He's like regal, and his love interest in this movie is Vidya Balan. I love watching the two of them together, and she's so
Do you
beautiful.
think they cast them because of Paranita?
100%.
Yeah.
It has to be, because it also has Raima Sen in it as Saif Ali
Get
Khan's
out of
sister.
here.
Yes. I mean, the casting alone, you have to watch this movie, Matt. Like, it
Huh.
is so Parinita people. Let's just take all of these people. Like, I don't know, did he make them sign like a dual contract? Like, we're doing Parinita and then boom, we're going to do Eklavya. And even Amitabh Bachchan has done the voiceover in Parinita, right? Like at the beginning, the introduction, sort of. And he begins this movie also with like a voiceover on the legend of Eklavya. So it just like it has such a lovely cast. Everyone is so good. It has Jackie Shroff in a really small role. It has Jimmy Shergill in a really small role. They're baddies, by the
Is
way.
Jackie good?
No, he's a bad guy.
No, but is he good in the role?
He's inconsistent.
Because we're getting towards like unhinged
Yeah.
Jackie era, right?
He's inconsistent.
Okay.
But you know who is actually really excellent in this movie? Sanjay Dutt. Sanjay Dutt is so good in this movie.
What's
Yes,
happening?
he is a cop in this movie, and he plays this like boorish, like think Sanjay Dutt in Khalnayak, except he's a good guy here. Like he's a police officer, and he's like from a lower caste. He's like an untouchable, and he has all these grievances against the royal family and specifically against Baman Irani himself. He has some really good lines, and he's phenomenal in this movie. Like he gives no f's about the royal family. He just like speaks with them with such disdain, and just kind of enjoys any misfortune that comes upon them. And like honestly, he's kind of like the Greek chorus of this movie. But it's just like a really interesting movie about power dynamics. And at its core, this movie is about succession, right? It's about who gets to be the king, who gets to have all of this power. And that's where you have these multiple opposing forces who all kind of want the same thing. And then you have one person at the center of it all who seemingly doesn't have any power, but is really one of the most powerful people who is actually in the know, which is Eklavya, played by Amitabh Bachchan, who is the royal guard. Like it's his job since generations to protect the members of the royal family. And so he's really the one that is closest to the action and knows what's happening. And there's a twist in this movie that is like you get some hints about it in the very beginning, and then by 20 minutes into the film you know what's happening and you're like, oh. So there's some secrets in here. It's a very juicy story, and just I think it also like highlights the whole thing about like gold and the pursuit of gold and money and power, and how corrupting that can be, and how for some people that is paramount and it's above even things like relationships and stuff like that. So it's a really good movie. I highly recommend that you watch it. Tell us about your
Do
film.
you would you recommend it during a particular like mood, or you feel like spring in the bad way is lasting forever because it's raining for days and days and days in a row and you need an escape to Rajasthan? Like, what is the best setting to watch this movie?
It's such an interesting film because like for such a heavy topic, it's actually not super heavy handed. I feel like I wouldn't call it breezy. It's certainly not
Sure.
breezy, but it's not like particularly heavy either.
Okay.
It is definitely a very beautiful film. The cinematography for this film is absolutely gorgeous. It's shot on location in Rajasthan. The costumes are beautiful. The palace, the interiors of the palace are beautiful. It's shot at like some actual palace in Devigarh. And it's everything about this. Every frame is so pretty. And that's another guarantee you have from a Vidhu Vinod Chopra film, right? Like all his movies are really beautiful to look at. And everyone's costuming in this is really beautiful. I would say if you're in the mood for like, not really a thriller, but like a drama about shenanigans and
Okay.
about power struggles, if you're in that kind of like a mood, like a thrillery mood or a drama mood or a suspensey mood, it's a good movie for that. Like curl up with like a hot beverage and just get ready for shenanigans. I would say absolutely everybody in this film has acted incredibly well, but Amitabh just towers over everyone. And I have to say, like, one of my biggest criticism of Amitabh is invalid here. One of my biggest problems with him is that he can go so ham so quickly, and he can be this incredibly unbearable person who's just bloviating, and he's not like that in this, partly because of his station in life, right? Like at multiple points during this film, he is reminded by Baman Irani and the actual royals that he's a nobody. Like, he's a commoner. He's always going to be their servant. His father was a servant. He's a servant. This is his lot in life. And we are the privileged. We are the 1%. We're the elites. You're an absolute no one. So he doesn't actually have a voice, even though he is kind of like the conscience of that fort, and he's the knower of all the secrets, but he's kind of like effectively silenced by them. And so it's this amazing combination of like, he knows everything, but he can't say anything, but there's mystery, but he needs to protect the people, but he doesn't know what he's up against. And so he just gives such an amazing performance, and he mostly has to communicate with his eyes. He actually doesn't have a ton of like dialogues. He has to be sort of the strong, silent person in the shadows hanging back while the royals take center court. But just his communication with his eyes and his body language, I mean, he is the Amitabh Bachchan for a reason, and he's fantastic in this film. But I also have to give credit to Saif Ali Khan. Scenes in which Saif takes on Amitabh, they're in the same frame and they're conversing with each other. You would think that Saif, at this point in his career in 2007, is maybe a little bit weaker and not up to the task and not able to. Nope, he's great. He absolutely holds his own.
I know we talk about Seth kind of in passing a lot, as well as in some specific episodes.
We talk about him a lot.
He's always surprising us, right? So just
Yes.
what you just said is perhaps a bit of a surprise. This is still a smidge. Omkara is what, 2008? So I think, so we haven't quite.
2007, I think.
Okay, same year.
Next year will be like 20 years or whatever.
2006. Okay, so maybe people did know Seth could do this, but great.
But to hold your own against Amitabh in some of those scenes, I mean, I wouldn't fault Seth if he faltered a little bit. I'd be like, yeah, well, you're up against Amitabh. I'll give you a little bit of a break. No, he was absolutely phenomenal. He's great in his scenes with Baman Irani. He's so tender and lovely in his scenes with Vidya, with Rema. Vidya, unfortunately, does not have a lot to do.
Yeah.
It's a very, very small role, and she's very, very pretty. The person who actually has, in some ways, a bigger role than her and makes more of an impact is actually Rema. She plays this kind of mentally challenged person, and she's this princess who knows a lot, but also does not compute or process things the way the most of us do. And she is so darling and endearing in this movie. I'm always happy to see Raima Sen. So just the chemistry between her and Vidya Balan is so sweet. It's so reminiscent of Parinita. There's a lot of shades of Parinita in this film.
That's wild, yeah.
Yeah, like I took a screenshot and sent it to you where Saif says to Vidya Balan, like, she asks if she can come in, and he says, it's your house, you can come and go as you please. And I was like, Parinita again?
And it just looked, yes, the interiors are different from,
they're more royal.
Calcutta to wherever in Rajasthan that's royal. But it did like, if you blinked, you'd be like, oh yeah, that's from Parinita. You're like, oh, no, it's not.
Yeah. And then even like the friendship between Vidya and Raima is also very reminiscent of Parinita. I almost expected them to start playing cards at some point, or baking cake or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was this movie's best use of gold?
Honestly, just the setting itself, because it's shot in an actual palace in Rajasthan. These are not sets. So just the outside, it's a fort, and the outside is that beautiful sandstone, limestone look that Rajasthan has, just this goldeny haze. And the inside is just golden. Like when you look at the princess's chambers and the prince's chambers, even like these like very dimly lit scenes where it's just kind of dark, and Saif is at a study and he's just looking at these like receipts or some sort of official paperwork. and it's just like glittering all around. It's like muted because it's dark, but
Yeah.
it's still like glittering,
Oh,
and
beautiful.
there's just sparkle everywhere, and there's like you see the zari and the gold ornaments and everything. Of course, Rima is wearing gold ornaments, and then Vidya Balan, being a commoner, is wearing a lot of silver, like we were saying in our last in our silver episode as well. There's these beautiful chandeliers. It's just the whole place just looks expensive and royal, which it is. That is my dog, who has now moved on to attacking the cabinet after having attacked the Roomba. She's 1 year old and has no manners whatsoever and does not care that I'm podcasting.
Roombas must be kept in line by pets. This is well established. So no surprise there. She's doing her duty.
I have a Roomba because of her, by the way.
Well, sure.
But she wants to destroy. Great. Amazing. I would highly recommend you watch Eklavya. I think you will greatly enjoy it. And there's so many literary references in this also. I mean, Eklavya, the character itself, is derived from the Mahabharata. And Amitabh does tell us the story of Eklavya in the beginning. There's references to Shakespeare's sonnets. There's references to the Gita. There's in one scene, there's a lot of talk about like doing your duty in this movie, and what does your duty even mean, because there are points in this movie where doing your duty is going to mean doing something unconscionable. And so what are you going to do in this situation? So there's some tricky webs to sort of navigate in this film. It's a really good movie about like power dynamics, I would say. Yeah. What is your movie about?
My movie is about a royal family who Murad is the aging patriarch, and there's shenanigans with his will, and Kader Khan is his, I don't know, vizier, or no, not his vizier. I don't know. He's around, and he wants, all the money and everything. So Sri Ram Lagu, who is the vizier, takes the royal prince and like gives him a locket with half of the treasure map in it, and he gives the other half to his own son. His wife is Nirupa Roy, because of course it is. And you will note that when the movie begins, he is alive. So she is not dressed like a widow. She is dressed like a fairly fancy lady of the palace, wearing this beautiful peach sari with like, I think, gold and silver embroidery. And I was like, ooh, I so seldom see her in
color,
non-neutral colors, because I have seen her in like black a few times, but so she's like a little fancy and everything, and it's fun to see. And then Kader Khan, of course, is on the trail of what's going on here. So Shriram Lagu bundles off and there's a little sister. So Shriram and Nirupa have a daughter as well. So the royal prince and then the son and the daughter, and they're all bundled off, and like they try to escape, and they're going over this, I don't know what you call this, but it's like these little cable cars that go over a rushing river, and they get on. So the mom is with the mom is with her own biological children in the first car, and then the dad, the vizier, is with the royal prince in the back car, and Kader Khan and his cronies are on the bank trying to shoot at them. So of course they all get separated, and the three kids are separated, although the son does stay with Nirupa. But family is torn apart here. And then we flash forward, and we have in this movie, this is a slightly strange cast to me. So we have Jitendra.
Okay.
Doing exactly what you would perhaps think he would do. And I believe it's supposed to be present day to the 80s when we flash forward. I don't know. It doesn't really matter.
Question.
Yes.
Is he wearing polyester white pants that cut off his blood circulation to his legs?
I don't think I saw him I don't think there were any that were white. They may have been off-white, but he does have an amazing, it's not quite baby blue, but it's like a dusty baby blue 80s suit, which I'm sure is polyester, but the jacket is that like cropped kind, and it's very triangular, and it's got like a zipper pocket going parallel to the lapel, like on a diagonal. Like there's a lot of 80s-ness in some interesting ways here. So much so that I paused to go look up pictures of vintage 80s men's jackets to try to find out if I could find a name for that shape, and I couldn't, but it was a fun rabbit hole. I recommend.
Nice.
And Rekha, as I mentioned, is there, and she is in the employ of Kader Khan now, who is the Thakur of wherever they are. I don't even remember. And he has a nasty, depraved son because, of course, he does. Rekha is a dancer in their nightclub, which is where we get the amazing song, really, which was the one best thing of the like Rekha plus Bappi combo here. The song is called Main Gulbadan, and she's singing about how she's the most beautiful, and she's wearing a shimmering black sequined dress, and then she does like a drag reveal and undoes that dress, and there's a red sequin dress under the black dress. So like that's really fun. Jitendra is playing a bumpkin of sorts who goes to the city looking for his sister. And so, and Rekha, at one point, he sees Rekha at a temple. She has dropped her purse on her way to her car. So he's chasing after her, trying to return her purse because he's a good boy who's now in the city. And so, of course, he goes to the nightclub and he sees her doing this and he's scandalized and whatever. Blah, 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 blah. It's all very complicated. And then the other person I haven't mentioned yet, which for me is a selling point, but also is a little weird, is Vinod Mehra is in here.
Oh, yeah.
Well. And I really, if you harken back, I believe to our second episode where we talked about embarrassing filmy crushes, he's on my list. Although I'm no longer embarrassed. I feel like nobody ever talks about him, and I really like him. And I don't want to be too much of a spoiler.
Is his shirt unbuttoned to his belly button in all scenes?
No, not that far. But he is a heavy for Kader Khan.
Okay.
So he does wear, and he rides a motorcycle. So he's always like motorcycling around. And I was like, I don't know if I've seen Vinod Mehra on a motorcycle.
I don't think I've ever seen him in the employ of a bad dude, actually. He's always goody-goody.
Yeah. And so you can imagine that these three main people are key. One of them is not. Actually, I would say two of these people are not cast the way you think they would be, so this doesn't exactly end the way I was predicting. But there's also another plot line with a police officer and his love interest, but who cares? Nobody cares. Iftikhar is there, and as far as I can determine, he's not a cop, and he has no mustache, so I don't really know what's going on here.
Wow. Is he at least a good person?
Yeah. He's not in it very much, but he is good. So anyway, fully recommend. This is a great, it is from the 80s. To me, this is very 70s style, masala. I fully recommend. You can go through life without having seen this movie, but I love the on the nose of like, we're going to call our movie Locket, and we're not going to have just one locket, we're going to have two lockets, and they have rubies on them, and they contain maps.
And there's a pantry full of gold.
Yeah. And then there's another cabinet like this one that is silver, and then another one that is paper currency.
That sounds really amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty great. And the treasure room, when you finally get to it, does not disappoint. Yes, all the stuff in there is fake, clearly, but it's not as fake looking as sometimes. And you see Kader Khan at one point, he's trying to like cram as much of it into his clothing and onto his body as he can to get away with it. And he's just like, there's like pearls everywhere. It's very funny. And then at one point he's beating someone else and like shoving his face in a pile of pearl necklaces, which is also very funny somehow. Like, and then you cut to like motorcycle chases and stuff. This is a good time. It is not it's sort of more representationally gold than it is visually gold in this, minus this, the treasure house. But I couldn't decide between Rekha and Bappi, so I went for them together. Right. And if there is a better list of what of their movies together exists, so let me I wrote them all down, so let me quickly pull up my Rekha plus Bappi list. So we have Aap Ki Khatir from 1977, which also has Vinod Khanna. I could only find it with like those auto-generated subtitles, so I put it on the like just in case list. A movie called Agreement in English from 1980 that I was like couldn't find anywhere with subs. Juti, which is a Rishikesh Mukherjee movie, which is on Einthusen for any of our friends who watch that. And I thought that might be good, but it didn't sound like it was going to be blinged out because it's Rishikesh Mukherjee, and I was like, that's not what I'm here for. So then we have Insaf Ki Awaz, great title, obviously. We have this Locket. We have Pool Bane Angare, which I have seen, which is like woman cop takes revenge, if I remember correctly, with Rekha. And I thought like, that might be a little too violent for me, but also on my B list. Insaf Ki Dev, and then Gitanjali, which is a Shakti Samanta film from the 90s. So that was kind of on my list as well. So, but none of these were standing out to me as things I knew to be disco amazingness. And I did know that Locket had a disco number because it's on my gigantic crowdsourced Filmi disco playlist on YouTube of the like 80 songs or whatever I have in there. There was that one that I referenced earlier is on that list. So I'm like, okay. This is not Bappi's greatest work, I would say. Like, I'm not humming any of the songs, even though I just saw the movie yesterday. So,
Right.
but it does the job. This is like a, I'm not saying it's B grade in terms of who's in it, because all of these people are like,
They're big names.
they're big names. But this is, there's just a sort of like, it'll do kind of vibe to this movie, which I'm not mad at. I don't think it's pretending to be more than it is or anything like
Hmm.
that, but it does have a slightly like, you watch this before the main feature almost kind of vibe.
Right.
I don't know. I don't mean to beat up on this movie. It's not a movie I feel like I've heard many people talk about. So it's,
Right.
if you like this kind of thing, you will like this movie. If this is not your kind of thing, and like Pitu, for example, I don't think this is your kind of thing, I can't really encourage you to watch this other than the Rekha disco song, which is a good time. And it has bubbles.
Nice. Yeah, you did send me the screenshot of that. And I feel like this episode has resulted in a lot of screenshots being
And Rekha's
sent back and
choreography in that song
forth.
does involve her like popping the bubbles at one point, which I thought was really cute. And I feel like I have not seen that in a song with bubbles before. So I
I
liked that
have
she
not
was
seen that
interacting
either.
with the bubbles. I'm so easily pleased, you guys. Like I'm the opposite of Caligula. I'm like I will be delighted by anything like bubbles. I'm
I
a
would say
kitten or
you are
something.
very much the opposite of Caligula for many other reasons
Many
I can think
reasons.
of,
Yeah,
but okay,
I'm also
we'll go with
not
this
an
reason.
emperor of Rome.
You're also not a bloodthirsty tyrant, but
No,
who knows?
no.
Maybe your maple syrup robbery has changed you, and I have no idea.
I've
What are
converted it
some
all to gold.
other movies that you think of when you think of gold?
I did go very, I mean, my list in my head was very Rajasthani, right? And
Yes.
I had already brought Koopsar at the Sonam Kapoor one for
Yeah.
Yellow, which obviously is skating very close to gold. And I think we actually talk about that in that movie. But, you know, I feel like there's a fair amount of golden color, at least in like Paheli, which we've talked about a
Yes.
million times. So
And it's also Rajasthan.
yeah, so I wanted to deliberately go away from Rajasthan. And also I did remember that you were planning to watch Eklavya. Um, but I did almost watch Joda Akbar. Like I went
Oh,
and
yeah.
found it and
So
everything. And I
golden.
had thought about watching it for green because I remember some emeralds in that movie. But so I did almost do it, but then I thought that's also pretty similar to what you were gonna do. And I also thought maybe at some point, given especially your love of both the leads of that movie, maybe we'd just do an episode on it
Right.
sometime or something. So and it didn't sound as much fun. So I
Yeah.
put it to the side. But also, we haven't talked about Bappi-da Rekha a whole lot on this podcast. I know
Yeah.
we are both fans, so I thought it would be fun to bring that. Now, as it turned out, this was a bit of a damp squib for him, but he is there, and he
Right.
did create, the good disco number that Rekha is in. As far as I know, it's not a copy of anything. I did not recognize it for what that's worth. It may be a copy. I don't know, but I had fun, especially with that song. So yeah, there are many, many, many gold movies, and even if there's just a wedding scene, right, you're going to see a lot of gold or whatever. So it's pretty inescapable that you will see gold
Yeah.
in many Hindi films, especially if you start looking for it.
I mean, first of all, in Hindi films, all of the historicals come to mind.
All the
I
historicals, every
all
single
the
one.
palaces, all of
Yeah.
those ones. I was thinking of this Rajkumar and Hema Malini movie. I want to see. It's still on my list. It's something Lal Pathar.
Uh-huh. I've seen
I
that.
want to
Yeah.
see it because it's like I've seen parts of it because one time when I was in India, I was on television and I was like, oh, this looks interesting. And I saw I saw bits and pieces of it and then I had to leave and blah blah blah. So I want to like actually sit down and watch it. So that one is definitely on my list. And
And
then
that is a remake of a Bengali film with Uttam Kumar
mm,
in it, by the way. If you get into that story, you can watch the
yeah.
original.
And then there's also Lakin, which I love, which we have
Yeah.
spoken about already. But yeah, I was very much in that like whole like Rajasthan map and then deserts. I was
Yeah.
thinking about Mirch Masala, which is of course such a red movie because of the chili
Mm-hmm.
powders, but then
Mm-hmm.
also the sands and everything. But mostly I just kind of wanted to look into like royal stuff. And I didn't want to do a movie that kind of like puts royals on like a pedestals or
Sure.
anything like
Yeah.
that. I wanted to like kind of like dig in a little bit into the idea of like the corrupting power
Yeah.
of gold, right? Because
Yeah.
gold has always been associated with like elite people. It's never
Mm-hmm.
associated with like the 99%. It's always
No.
associated with royals and stuff. And I feel like so few movies take like a critical viewpoint of royalty, or so few movies take a critical viewpoint of like the power structures that exist. And I feel like I don't know if this is because I didn't grow up in India, but every time I watch some of these movies, I learn like a new factoid that almost always horrifies me. So, for
Oh.
instance, I've not verified this, but this is just something I saw in the movie Eklavya. There's a few scenes where Sanjay that talks about how in these palaces, and in particular this specific palace that he hates so much and he would never set foot in if it weren't for the investigation he has to do, he said that the kings would kill and bury untouchables for good luck in the actual fort. Like they
Oh
would
dear
be like
God.
buried alive.
Oh God.
And he says it's one of his ancestors that's actually in there, and he like thumps this wall and he says, this is where my ancestor is. And sure enough, it has like a sort of like a bas relief on it, and he's like, this is my ancestor, blah blah Chohar. And I was just like, what?
Ugh.
Like that sounds so grisly and horrible
Is
and
it true?
awful. I don't know. I didn't have
Oh.
time to look into it, but it wouldn't surprise me if it were. I mean,
Mm.
it's so grisly. I think one of the greatest things that India ever did, like I'm very grateful for the fact that the monarchies were abolished. And I love the fact that kings in India are kings in name only and have no power and nobody gives a shit about them. And I actually, it's a pet peeve of mine when movies try to like valorize them and they're like the kings, and it's like, yeah, no, the kings didn't do shit when the British came, and also they were just parasites. And I love the fact that Eklavya does take a lot of pot shots at the royals
That's in
in this
Mughal Azam
movie.
too, isn't it? Aren't they going to wall her up in Mughal Azam?
They are, but in that case, it's not so much for like good luck or anything like that.
Right, right,
It's
right,
because she has offended the king.
right.
But
It's
that's
a
the,
punishment.
it's a punishment, but also that's like, who talks about that, right?
Right.
Like all of these horrible grisly things that kings of yore used to do. Because again, it's the concept of absolute power, you know, corrupting someone because you're not answerable to anybody anymore, right? Like there's a few
Yeah.
scenes in this movie where whenever Baman tries to like, you know, sort of put Sanjay Dutt in his place, like, yeah, whatever, you're just a police officer. Oh, and by the way, you're an untouchable. Every time he tries to do that, Sanjay Dutt just like laughingly, but very menacingly is like, yeah, I'm a police officer. And
Oh,
also,
I
this
love
is a
that.
democracy and you don't have any power
That's
anymore.
great. That's great.
It's so amazing. It's very like Greek chorus. I was like, yeah, you tell
Yeah.
him, Padalal, you tell
Yeah.
him. You
Yeah.
know, it was very gratifying.
And despite
Um,
Sanjay Dutt being born of who he is, I can see him doing that really well, like being a more
yeah,
of the people kind of
yeah.
voice.
It's always amazing to me because like I love Sunil Dutt and Nargis, and
Yeah.
their on-screen image is so sort of like noble and like rarefied. And then you watch Sanjay Dutt and he's played like Toporis and, you know, like someone in Munabha MBBS where he's played like gangsters. And I'm like, what is this? What is this amazing filmography? Like I
Yeah.
love it, but it's very different from his parents.
Yeah. I want to share one more fact about my movie that I
Oh
forgot.
yeah.
This movie is produced by the father of Amir Khan.
Oh, okay.
And the next
Tahir
film,
Hussain?
yeah, and the next film that he produced was Tum Mary Ho, which is a film that you and I both enjoy.
Very enjoyable. Tumire Ho and that era of Amir Khan reminds me of this movie. Have you seen Daulat Ki Jang? That is like a theoretically golden movie. There's a treasure hunt in
That's
it.
awfully familiar. Have I seen
It's
it?
Amir and Juhi. It's not very good, but it's
I
like if you
believe I have
enjoy,
not, but I believe I have considered it because that does sound like my kind of thing.
it's like it's enjoyable if you enjoy like baby Juhi and baby Amir and like that era. But I had brought that to Khandan a few years ago where I was like, I want to talk about Dalit Ki Jang. And they were like, cool. And then Amrita was like, this is what happens when we let you choose your movie when you guessed. And I was like, sorry. Um,
When
but
will
yeah,
they
Dalit Ki
learn?
Jang has it. I know.
They will never learn
Like,
not to let you choose.
yeah. But yeah, that one has like a treasure quest in it, and Kader Khan is in it also, and he's often in a coffin for reasons that escape me. Like he travels in a coffin, so it's
Oh,
very
like
weird.
on
Yeah,
wheels?
like pulled by horses.
Okay.
It's very weird.
I will definitely watch that. That sounds
You should watch
amazing.
this movie. um, the weird thing is like when I think of gold, the most goldeny movies I think of are actually not Bollywood. It's actually two Hollywood productions. One is Cleopatra that we spoke about recently, which is so golden. with all her costumes and everything. And the other thing that I actually think of is The Hobbit, because in The Hobbit,
Ah.
there are the scenes of Smaug, the dragon, and when Bilbo Baggins enters his lair, and you see this cave that he lives in under the mountains, and it's just covered to the brim. Every square inch of that cave is just covered with gold coins and treasures and chests and rubies and all the things. And Smaug himself is just slumbering in the middle and just like this mountain of gold around him. I was like, this sounds amazing. Like, I want to be in this cave. So those are actually the two movies I think of as the most
And
golden.
so for listeners, we're recording this a little earlier than it's releasing. So our Cleopatra episode will be out by the time you hear this, but uh, we had a lot of fun with that
We had so
extremely
much
gold
fun.
movie. I think that would be
Yes.
my number one gold movie now that I've seen it. And before that, it would have been a film that I've mentioned on this podcast many times, Gods of Egypt, which is an
Right.
absolutely bananas set in ancient Egypt movie. And there's a lot of gold in that movie. There's also a
Is
lot
that the
of
one?
yellow, so it's kind of hard to.
Uh, is that the one that has Charlton Heston in it?
Oh no.
Okay.
No, it's much more recent than that, and it does
Oh, okay.
have. I I don't even want to tell you who's in it because it's such a delight to see them. You're like, what are you doing in this?
Yeah.
Everyone should watch it, except they shouldn't,
Nice.
but they should. You know what I mean? It's so bad. I love it so much. It's so bad.
Wow. I mean, I think one movie that comes to mind when I think of gold is actually Utsav, that we've done an episode
Oh
on.
yes, Rekha
It's
and her
just
gold.
all of her jewelry in that movie is so amazing to me.
So I did Google for a while, like iconic gold Bollywood out
Mm,
costumes or whatever, and I kept just getting online retailers trying to sell you things that look like things that particularly women have worn on the red carpet. I
okay.
wasn't finding costumes from films, so I don't know. I'm not sure what I was doing wrong in my Googling. Because there must be memorable gold outfits, but I could not pull any. And of course, we all think of Rekha wearing gold, but again, I was finding that on the red carpet more than,
Mm.
or like, in her real life, she's wearing gold. But she must do in the films, in addition to Utsav. And then I thought, well, like, does she wear a lot of gold in Umrao Jan? I didn't really feel like rewatching that at this time,
Yes, she
but
wears a lot of gold in Umrajan, but also she's worn some nice gold outfits in what is that movie? The Feroz Khan movie with the song
oh, uh-huh.
Ek to kam zindagani, us pe bhi
Mm-hmm.
kam hai jawani. She's wearing a gold outfit in that. That's really cool. But you know what the most iconic Bollywood gold outfit to me is, apart from her
Mm.
outfit and jewelry and itself, is actually Parveen Babi in Namak Halal,
Oh.
in Raat Baki, Baat Baki. No, in Jawani
Yes.
Janeman,
Yes.
the gold shimmery long sleeve sequiny thing with like the fringe, and then
Mm-hmm.
she has the hair stuff
Oh, God,
and
that's
the
an amazing
perm in her
outfit.
hair. She looks
Yeah.
so amazing. That is like the most golden outfit I've
Yeah,
seen.
definitely. I'm pulling it up to watch right now as we talk. That's right. Yeah, I mean, because we just did disco with silver. I guess I wasn't thinking about this, but oh, yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So she is iconic for gold and silver, which
Yes.
is, I mean, of course she is. Of course she is. Yeah, and her, if you're not picturing this song, listeners, she's wearing like a gold bodysuit, and then it has a like a scarf tied around her
Sarong
waist that's
type of
also,
thing.
yeah, it like, which is like white with gold in it. Shashi Kapoor is also wearing a tuxedo with a gold lapel. But yeah,
Mhm.
she is, and her hair is huge in this movie, so it's like her hair
Yeah.
is bigger than her waist.
I think she also has like metallic, like gold
Oh,
eyeshadow. So when they
probably.
do like her close ups and stuff, she's
And she's
just
got
like
a gold
glimmering.
necklace, like almost like a lariat necklace with like a center thing
Yeah.
dangling down. Yeah, oh gosh. Oh, and huge earrings that mirror the pendant on the necklace. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think she does have gold shimmer on her cheeks and all too.
Yeah.
Ah, yes, of course, of course. This
That's
would have
like,
been
it's
an
like
amazing
the
choice.
most
Yeah,
golden
that's
outfit.
the one. You're right.
Yeah.
So it's
But I
like
think
that and
in
Rishi
real
Kapoor's
life,
jumpsuit, like tunk tunk.
yes.
Those are the metallic icons.
But then I think you're right. Like for real life, the person that I think of the most golden is Rekha. I
Yeah.
mean, it's like almost like a look at this point where you know that Rekha on a red carpet premiere, whatever, is going to be in like a golden kanjivaram with like the really thick zari border. And
Yeah.
she's going to be wearing those thick golden jhumkas and her hair in a bun and the big gajra. And she always has like a little potli, and that's always golden too. It's just like Sone ki dukaan. I love it.
There must also be some amazing songs that use gold as a metaphor and things like that. But because I am so limited in Hindi, that didn't even occur to me till just now. But That
Yeah.
would be
Well,
another
the funny
option to
one is
pursue.
the David Dhawan movie, the song that has Karishma Kapoor in it, Sona Kitna Sona Hai,
Oh
Sone
yeah.
Jaisa Mera Man. But the funny thing is she's not wearing any gold in it. She's
Ah.
wearing these like little baby doll dresses and like velvet with like her middle parting, and they're cavorting in Switzerland because of course they are. But that there's that Sona Kitna Sona Hai song. And then of course there's always references to like Sona and Sona Chandi and all of that in so many of the songs. I feel like Helen wears a lot of gold too,
I'm sure she
but not
does.
in her actual outfits, in like her jewelry. But of course, there is her golden shimmery outfit in Dawn.
Yes.
Ye Mera Dil. I mean,
Yep.
that's like a more muted gold
Yeah.
than the really golden in your
Yeah.
face gold that Parveen
Yeah.
Babi's worn. But she looks so amazing in that golden outfit as
Yeah,
well,
she
like the
does.
golden maxi.
Yeah. There must be at least one or two songs with men wearing kind of gold encrusted suits and things like that. But again, I'm not. I
Probably Ritik in Jodha Akbar in that Azimo
sure.
Shan
Oh
Shahenshah
yes.
song,
Yeah. Yeah. That was the
and then
that was the song I was thinking of when I was thinking
and
about
his
that movie.
sword and all of his golden, all the thingies
And
that
like
he's
elephants probably
wearing.
are wearing it, and
Yeah.
everyone. You can't get in the arena if you don't have that on. You can't get in the
Yeah.
palace grounds at all.
Bedazzled. You have to be so bedazzled.
It's been interesting to me to think about gold because silver has actually turned out to be more interesting to me than gold
Mm.
in terms of what it represents and all because it's not quite the pinnacle in a way, so it kind of goes
Yeah.
in more
It also
directions. But
tarnishes.
yeah, so like the purity of gold and all just is like I understand the valuableness of that, if that's a word, but like it's not, it's kind of just compelling to think about to me.
Yeah.
Because when you see someone deranged with greed, it's always gold that represents that. It's not
Yes.
silver there might also be some silver present, but it's always an image like this one with
Yeah.
the gold bars or the gold jewelry or the gold nuggets or the whatever. Which
But
is not to
I
say that silver didn't drive a ton of, imperial monstrosities and colonial monstrosities in places like South America, for example. But I feel like gold is the shorthand
yeah.
most of the time, and silver is left to be kind of more developed in other ways.
Yeah. But gold is also iconic also in terms of architecture. Like you think of Fort
Yes.
Knox,
Yes.
you think of the Golden Temple in Amritsar. There's movies like McKenna's Gold, which is one of the earliest Gregory Peck movies I ever watched. And it was the first time I heard about the gold rush because I was very little. And I was like,
Yeah.
what is that? And then when I came to California, I was like, oh, the gold rush. How
The Golden
interesting.
State.
You know,
Yeah.
fool's gold and all of that.
Yeah.
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 And I feel like in cinema, gold can be used as such a quick and easy
Oh, yes.
shorthand to tell someone the difference between these people are rich, like rich, and these people are nouveau riche. Like, have you seen
Oh.
that scene in Crazy Rich Asians where yeah, where Rachel Constance Wu goes to Aquafina's home and her whole family, like Ken Jeong and everyone they're so nouveau riche and everything is just like plastered golden. And at one point, the mom, Aquafina's mom, actually says, like, "Oh yeah, have you been to Versailles? We were so inspired by it." And she's like, "Yeah, I can tell."
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I actually recently on Reddit, I saw this slideshow of photos of how the Oval Office in the White House has been changed under the Trump administration. And it was the photo of like the mantelpiece. And it's just gotten progressively more gold as the years go by because of him.
It's interesting that gold also skews tacky faster than silver.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a double-edged sword in terms of what you're representing because, yeah, there's a taste level that you need to keep in mind probably.
Yeah, and probably just use it in small doses. I mean, well, I say that, but then I love all of those Rajasthani palaces and I love Versailles and stuff like that. So why that works for me, I have no idea.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Like that maximalism, I have no problem with.
Although if we had been alive during that time and they were in charge of us, we might feel different.
Oh, yeah. We might feel like, ugh, they're so tacky.
That's not my
I prefer
money.
my mud hut. I prefer the thatch on my roof.
Yeah. Or when you think about things like this is cultural as well, but like a gold tooth, you're always like, okay, calm down, you know?
Or like the grills and everything. I love that.
Yeah.
So
there's an ostentation to gold that silver does not have as fast or as easily.
Yeah. Ostentation makes me think of Austin Powers. Like that's
Oh
another movie
yes.
that like just celebrates over the top tackiness. And
Well, and of
I
course,
feel
the
like,
the famous James Bond film where a woman is killed because she's painted in gold,
yeah.
by Goldfinger. So that's pretty bad. I mean, that kind of does it all right there.
Yeah.
That would be my other very iconic gold movie, I think. But if it's
Oh
there in the
yeah.
title, that's kind of too easy.
Yeah. I also feel like anytime you hear about like, those Balkan states, dictators that you hear of, and it's always
Oh
like they
yeah.
had a gold toilet. I don't know what it is about gold toilets. It's always like they had a gold toilet. That's supposed to be like the absolute epitome, or rather like the absolute nadir of
Hmm.
tackiness and like stealing from your people. Like that is how deranged you are, that
Yeah.
you have to poop in a gold toilet. But yeah, it's weird. It's like it's shorthand for hella money, and then it's also shorthand for look how tacky I am. I just want to flaunt all of my wealth.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
funny. Okay.
I'm sad that we are at the end of our rainbow. I have
I
really
know.
enjoyed thinking about colors in movies, and I know we could cycle through many times and catch more films, but this has been, if listeners, you didn't hear our first episode on this was an idea that I don't think it was my idea originally at work, but someone I work with had the idea of it would be fun to do an exhibit that focused on one color, and then all the other museums in our area, we could each pick a color, and you could
So
like
cool.
see the rainbow by going to all the different museums. And I still would love to do that someday. So that's where this came from for our podcast. I was like, well, I can't make all the other museums do it, but I can probably make Pitu do
Yeah.
it. But since we both enjoy thinking about design in movies, and including clothing, but also sets and things like that, it was fun.
Yeah.
But then to dig into these metaphorical meanings has also been really fun. I would also like to plug a podcast by the National Gallery in Britain. They are doing a podcast about different colors as used in art, which is really interesting.
Okay.
And the gold episode has, a lot of science going on in it as well, which I thought was quite interesting. So that if you are interested in thinking about colors, that's a good one. And I will put a link in the description on YouTube if you are interested in finding that.
Are they talking, when you say the science aspect, are they talking about like the alchemical stuff, like all the alchemists in medieval times that
If
were
I
trying to create
recall
gold?
correctly, they're also talking about how the paints are made and things
Okay.
like that. So like when they talked about blue, they talk about lapis. I think it's that
Mm,
series I was listening to that had that. But like some colors were much harder to make in
right.
the past and things like that. So, but yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Interesting. Speaking of museums, there's one of the, I think the Victoria and Albert Museum is going to do an exhibit on Marie Antoinette's costumes,
Oh
like her actual
my.
outfits. And I desperately
Wow.
wish I could go. And I was like, I hope it's a traveling exhibit and it comes to the US. But I saw some of the photos from it, and it's magnificent. It's like her ball gowns and her wigs and her shoes and all of that stuff. And I would like to suggest as a movie, if people like Sofia Coppola's work, to watch her movie Marie Antoinette that stars Kirsten Durst in it. Is it Kirsten or Kristen? I don't know. Kirsten?
I think it's Kirsten. Yeah.
Okay. So it's a movie called Marie Antoinette. It's so amazing. I love this film. It is such a good telling of this, famous character, infamous character. And the costuming in this movie alone is really beautiful. And you think you've heard everything about Marie Antoinette, the person, but I think the movie will show you or teach you a lot that you didn't actually know. And I had like a lot of emotions when I saw this film, because to me she was just like kind of like a caricature in history. But that is also a very golden movie, and the costumes in it are really amazing. So I wish I could
Mm.
go and see this museum exhibit.
Yeah, I see it's up for about another month, so you'd have to get to
Yeah,
Britain really fast.
so sad.
I did plan a trip to London once to see an exhibit at the V&A, so but I had more notice than what you have had, so
Right.
for this.
Okay, well, I think that concludes this episode. We are very sad that the Color series has come to an end, but
Mhm.
we still have our Superstar series going on, and we always have lots of fingers and lots of pies. So we will see you next week for another episode. And in the meantime, in the comments, tell us what you think of gold in movies. Tell us if we have missed any gold, like iconic golden outfits that you want us to talk about.
Mhm.
And if you have not seen Giovanni Janeman, the song, you must watch it, because Parveen Babi is absolutely wonderful and sparkly in it. And
Mhm.
we will see you next week. Thank you. Bye.